Welcome to another episode of the Fatboy FadeAway Sports Podcast. We're recording this Sunday morning, 7 a.m. Tyler, you're not going to be on video this morning, but people, we could easily go with the face for radio and all that good, all that good stuff. But we'll leave it there. You've proven you can take care of yourself in that area. What do you? You're the one that's actually doing something exciting. You're down in LA, right?
Yeah, I'm at Disneyland.
Oh, the most exciting place in the world.
The girl.
Is it crowded there?
Happy. What?
Is it crowded there?
Freaking packed.
Okay, so it's not
they
the
don't
COVID
care about
thing.
COVID at Disneyland. I mean, they have like protocols, but it's just no one cares. Like some people are wearing masks. It's kind of like regular day life, except a lot of lines and expensive food.
So probably if you would have gone 3 months ago, that's where it would have been nice because it would have been like half the people allowed there. Yeah, you might have had to wear masks, but the line waiting would have been different. I always thought about that with amusement parks, kind of during that ending part of COVID here in California.
I don't think they weren't open 3 months ago.
Yeah.
So,
hey, I'm gonna pause it real quick.
Speaking.
All right, we're back. Hopefully, we got that part fixed there. So Tyler, we're talking about you being Disneyland, being back to looking like it's back to normal there at the parks. I was talking about how I thought it would be a big advantage if you would have gone 3 months ago, just because of the lines. I was hearing that was a big thing over there. Casey, let's get you on this. What's going on with you, man? How was your week?
It's been a little bit of an adventure, but it's all right. It's going well. It's always a positive doing a podcast with you guys on a Sunday. So looking forward to this. I got super sunburnt, so I got a little heat exhaustion, but I'm doing good though. And it's been just been looking forward to this all week.
Is that a greater than arrow on your shirt? Is that what the so maybe that things are better, it's a greater than. Yeah, I did. I went yesterday with Mom. I got a nice little golfing driver, so I can't wait to check that thing out. So I got the driver, and then during the week I picked John Rahm in this like free contest and ended up winning like 700 free golf balls with it too. So it made me think of like, have you ever won like a random contest? Like I remember in 6th grade, I won like a raffle to win like some sort of science fair tickets or something. Have you ever won anything like you're the 8th caller or something stupid like that? You or Tyler?
Yeah, I won crisscross tickets to the fair one time. I was like an 8-year-old calling into the radio station and got some crisscross tickets.
That's hilarious. Were you like a number caller or something like that?
If anyone knows who they are, but they're two little rappers. Something like that. I don't really remember vividly.
That's funny. Casey, you ever have anything like that?
No, I mean, I've entered contests, like how many gumballs or, something like that.
How many gumballs?
ECF or something like that. No, I've never won any though.
Yeah, so it was kind of cool getting that email. Darren, you won? I was like, all right, well, at least I can use that driver well. Even maybe I won't hit it straight, but I'll get a lot of swings out of it. So, anyways, I thought that was kind of
Hopefully it doesn't break off like your last driver.
Well, it better not break off. They gave me some equipment. We'll put it that way. I will have a massive issue if that happens. Hey, this is something I also kind of wanted to get into real quick before we get into sports. Have you guys noticed that there's been a lot more fighting in the stands? Or it seems like more people are videotaping it, or maybe because we're back in crowds or something like that. Maybe the liquid courage is at an all-time high and the trash talking has not been there. Have you noticed that at all? We had the Suns guy in 4. Tyler sent me a good video. I saw another good one at a Cubs game. I mean, people weren't fighting good or anything, but it just seems like a lot more tension, a lot more trash talking going on. Have you noticed that at all?
I think it's just more cameras and more people videoing. There's another Dodger one last night. I feel like it happens at Dodger Stadium a lot.
I feel like that's just a shot at the Dodgers on your part.
No, I always see Dodger fans involved in these fights. Like, I don't know. Maybe I just get that on my timeline. But
That's probably you probably encourage hatred on the Dodgers fans. I mean, there was a Padres fan flipping off a Dodgers fan. The one you sent me, that was funny though. The one on Twitter
One of
there
the great-
you posted, that was hilarious.
one of the greatest flipping of the birds I've ever seen.
Yeah, that was pretty incredible. I will give you that. I just know you're probably right. There's probably just more cameras because there's always been fights there, but and maybe just because we had no crowd for a while because of COVID and stuff. It just makes it seem and that Suns one got so much publicity, you know, and just the way he did it too, like grabbing the guy hockey style and talking trash to his other friend. You know, it's just the way that went down and the way like Booker supported him and stuff. I just think I don't know, it just seems like it's taken on a new little life here the last week.
You know, everyone's been cooped up in their house and haven't been able to get out. Now they can just take all their frustration out on people in the stands. So they're just like, all right, whatever, free range. But I don't know. Yeah, I think it's just from people being isolated for so long, and now it's just almost like forgot how to act outside. Like
Apparently that guy flew down from Connecticut. That's where he was from. So he made quite the trip out to watch the game. So all right, why don't we take a little pause there? We'll come back with our NBA segment. All right, guys, we busy week in basketball again. We got the Eastern Conference Finals, Western Conference Finals. I feel like maybe I'm wrong. This is just off the top of my head. I didn't do any research on it, but I feel like this has got to be one of the weirder matchups in both finals. Like just teams, not popular names as necessarily, like team names, and maybe not quite the star power that we usually have in these teams, or maybe they're just playing for franchises that aren't as in big cities. I don't know. What do you guys kind of first, before we get into the games, just the making of the four teams in there? Like, let's see, the Suns they've never won a championship. The Clippers obviously have never won one. The Bucks been a long time, and the Hawks it's been over 50 years. So is it just me or just some weird teams?
Tyler, you can get
I
this
think it's
one.
really weird teams. Watching that Suns Clippers game, I was like, this is one of the remind me of the Pistons back in early 2000s. Like, but it's not even good defenders. It's just bad basketball. Like, I was like, this is not, I almost was like, I want to boycott this. Like, if I didn't have this podcast, I probably wouldn't watch another game till the finals and see if that was more interesting basketball. It's not good. Like, I was like, this is not very entertaining.
Well, they were trying to. I feel like in the finals too, when you start to get a little farther, and usually the basketball it usually doesn't get better offensively. I feel like usually the Spurs and some other teams are the rare example of that. But I feel like they're usually the defensive competitiveness goes up a little bit. But you're right; these teams don't feel as great. It kind of reminds me. I think I heard Bill Simmons on his podcast mention like kind of when you look back at the history, it does seem like those early 90s matchups of just these random Western Conference teams. And that for the first time in a long time, I feel like it's kind of been different. So I kind of like it. So going to the back to the game, the Suns Clippers, now the Suns obviously win yesterday in a rock fight, 84-80. That fourth quarter was one of a kind, 15-14, right, Case? I mean,
the Clippers, they set an NBA record going 0 for 12 with a chance to take the lead in the fourth quarter.
12? I didn't even know that. Wow. That's rough.
Take the lead. I was like, man, all you got to do is hit one shot.
That's rough. I saw also both teams went a combined 9 for 51 from three. That's not very. So like Tyler said, just poor basketball, just a lot of like kickouts and misses. And then kind of my question for you. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, but the two best players in that game, were Zubac and DeAndre Ayton, just saying a lot, especially when you got all the other star players. But I mean, that's kind of just the type of game it was. It was just a grinded out type of game. They said like DeAndre Ayton had like 8 offensive rebounds, Zubac had 7, and DeAndre almost ended up, I think it was like 19 points, 20 rebounds.
I didn't think Ayton was going to be this good. I dropped the ball on that one. Like Ayton is like, he's really good. Like if he stays healthy, he's going to be the best center in the league in 5 years, possibly. I mean, or maybe even less than that. He's really good. I'm super impressed with him. I mean, Doncic is still probably the number one pick, but Suns don't look like idiots anymore. That's for sure.
No, he's a beast, man. He can play.
One thing about this.
Go ahead, D.
No, go ahead, Jason.
I was saying he's a beast, man.
Right,
You know,
one thing about he is a beast.
Tyler,
He's
go
a
ahead.
beast in Arizona. He just the one thing about this series. Let's stop the Devin Booker Kobe Bryant comparisons. It's a joke. The one thing he can do is maybe shoot at Kobe's level. Every other aspect of the game, Kobe is way better.
Well, first of all, those type of conversations to me aren't even like, they're not even worth having because, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's Kobe Bryant. Yeah, Booker.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's just ridiculous. That's not even close. Booker's more like, can he get on Clay's level?
In this case,
Yeah, can he? That's what I'm thinking. Can Booker get on like a Clay type level? All right, so Ayton's a stud. 23 rebounds last night, or 22 rebounds, 19 points. George, though, I thought he played well in like the stat categories, like 16 rebounds looked nice, right? The 6 assists, the 25 points, or the 23 points, but 1 of 9 from 3, 5 of 20 overall, Casey. And the thing that I'm starting to get, the playoff P part where you're even starting to notice it, where he's played a little bit better, is he's still not very clutch from the free throw line, though. 12 of 18 last night. That's not going to get it done in a game where you got a must have.
no, I mean, you got to make those free throws. I mean, I kind of feel for him, but it is what it is.
And the game before, right, where he missed those.
Yeah, that was huge. I mean, it is what it is. You got to make your free throws. I mean, especially being without Leonard out. I mean, you got to carry the burden. I know his legs are probably shot and tired. He's played by far the most minutes in the playoffs. I think it's like over like 150 more minutes than the next closest player. But he did set a record, which is not a good record, which is, I believe, 25% or less shooting in like 15 games in the playoffs, surpassing Harden with like a minimum of like 20 shots or something like that. But
Ryan Rosillo's loving that. He could use that as constant bait towards Paul George on that one. Casey, do the Suns close it out?
Yeah.
Game 5.
I'd be shocked, let's say that. But I know the Clippers, they got a lot of good players that play with heart. And, they for whatever reason, they just don't go away. But I think the Suns are just too much.
Tyler? Suns close it out?
Yeah, the Suns will. They'll close it out. I don't think they'll close. Yeah, they'll close it out 5. They'll get it done. I don't want. If it goes 6, it's going 7. So
2 more points on this series.
2-1 lead.
2 more points on this series real quick. Terrence Mann is a legit player. That guy's really good. I mean, I'm loving him more and more. I'm watching him. You know what I mean, Case? Just like, I don't know, he just makes these plays. And then the reason I would agree with Tyler on I would want to watch these games, I would have boycotted these games, the last 2 games, is the last 33 seconds of these games are taking like 5 minutes. It's insane with these replays that are going on. It's got to stop. It's I don't get it. It's taking 5 minutes to finish 33 seconds.
Underselling it. The other game before was 33 minutes just to finish the last minute.
Ridiculous.
Insane.
I mean,
it's just there's got to be a better way to do this. I mean, if I can see a replay within 20 seconds, what the hell's taking so long? I mean, just like bam, bam. And then the one last night, and I kind of wanted to get into this. So why the hell didn't they review the Cameron Payne play when it went off his hands? But then the game before, they reviewed it off Booker.
I didn't notice. I should have looked at it at the time. I didn't notice. Did any of the teams, did they have any more? Well, the coaches don't do it at that point, do they?
They don't have to. Referees can
the
review it under 2 minutes whenever they feel like it.
Well, for whatever reason, I'm glad they didn't review it because it's
Hold on.
how long they're taking. Go ahead, Tyler.
The referees suck. The playoff Bridges and Paul George that they gave to the Clippers. The guy on the right called the jump ball because he didn't have the balls to even make a play call replay. So I'm not even going to make a call. Call a jump ball, and then it'll be.
Well, I couldn't hear a little bit of that last point, but I heard I heard most of the other stuff. let's
Looks like we're having some technical difficulties right now. Might be having that Wi-Fi. Disneyland is not up to par.
It's not up to par there. I think Disneyland is letting us down with this Wi-Fi there. But I do appreciate. We do appreciate.
Take off the Mickey mascot helmet.
The effort is there though by McGurk. That's the main thing. He's here. That represents something. Passion, love, a feel for the podcast. We like that. All right, let's get into the other series real quick here. Let's make this one a little quicker here. Bucks Hawks. Game 1. Trae Young is a beast. And I don't know what else to say other than I was completely wrong about him. Case, what do you think about Trae Young?
He's pretty up and down right now. I know he's been amazing in the playoffs, 48 the first game, and then the second game, it looked like he almost forgot how to play basketball. It was weird. Like Space Jam, someone stole his powers. He just kept turning the ball over left and right. And I believe he had more turnovers than field goals made, which is, you can't do that, especially with Giannis. He's the best one-man fast break in the league right now. It's once he gets going, he's a locomotive. You cannot stop that man. But yeah, no, I think Trae, he's going to bounce back and I think it'll be actually a really good game tonight.
And that's where Giannis is at a different level. That's where I feel like is when they can get into that open floor and he's active defensively and he's getting block shots and they're getting in the run. Like that's where he's like, he's not at his best in half court setting. He's good, but that's just not where he's going to excel and take his team to the next level, like a Kevin Durant or something like that. In the open floor, he's next level there. His athleticism is too great for anybody on the floor. So yeah, I find it interesting with there. By the way, Tyler, it's just not working out. He just texted me, so he'll be back next week with it. Enjoy the rest of the trip, buddy. We'll see you next week on the podcast. I did tell him to jump back in though, so if he does come in, maybe we'll get that radio type voice again there. So anyways,
I was going to ask you, so what do you think about Trae Young? People saying superstar, star on the cusp. Where do you have him at right now?
Well, I just want to apologize to him, I guess, first of all, for like lacking his intensity, maybe. Like I kind of underappreciated, I think, his competitiveness and he'll get knocked down, get back up, and like he talks a little bit of trash. And I don't like some of the whining part of it that he does, but I do. He's starting to play like he's starting to play like he's in the top, like 5 of point guards for sure. Like he's starting to get to that like kind of right, that Curry, the Lillard, maybe that Paul level, and then maybe we're probably forgetting somebody else. And then he's probably right on that next level there. So I've been pretty impressed with him. I still get frustrated by the Bucks settling for a lot of threes as well. Who do you like to win tonight's game?
See, and this is what I've discussed with my buddy, and me and him have gone back and forth on the Bucks, and he's just all over the Bucks. Before the series started, he said they'd annihilate them in 4 sweep. Then the Hawks. No, he said the Bucks would sweep the Hawks.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, like the Hawks, they have a lot of great shooters. Like everyone on their team can shoot. Everyone on their team can pretty much ball at some type of level that's pretty high. And then they obviously got smashed last game, but it's one game. You already did your job. You got the split on the road. Now you're coming back home. Now it's your job to win too. So I think the Hawks are actually going to win this series in 6.
That would be, you should put some money on that if you think. I bet you get pretty good odds on that one right now. Yeah, I don't like the Hawks to win it. I think I'm still going to go with the Bucks to pull it out. They have the home court still. I think they can, at the very least, split in Atlanta and then win at least the next 2 at home. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but that's what I would go with.
The only reason I say that is because the Bucks, for whatever reason, they jack up so many threes, and so it's kind of like a
I wish they would turn it more into a slower game. They'd have the advantage, but they don't. They tend not to do that very often. Hey, let's take a little break there real quick. Unless you got anything else you want to add on the series.
No.
Okay. So let's be clear with it though. You got Atlanta in 6. I'm obviously taking Milwaukee. I'm going to take Milwaukee in 6. I think the Bucks. I think Atlanta gets 1, and I think the Bucks are able to close it out and by winning 5 and 6. Let's take a quick little break, and then we'll be right back. All right, just me and you here. Cleaned it up a little bit. Too bad Tyler will be back on the next one here. All right, last basketball segment here, and then we'll move on to something else. A lot of coaching jobs available, right? So obviously I like coaching. It was on my mind a little bit this week. I thought it was interesting. Carlisle goes to the Pacers. The Pacers really screwed that up. They had Nate McMillan, right? He kind of has a weird bubble year, and they get rid of him. And then McMillan takes over the Hawks, and now they're in the Eastern Conference Finals. And he did a good job when he was on the Pacers too. So I just feel like that was a really bad firing at the time too. That didn't make sense to me. So I'm kind of glad he's doing well with there. And so hopefully the Pacers now get Rick Carlisle back, right, after he gets fired from Dallas. What do you think of that one? You think that's a good one?
Yeah, I mean, Rick Carlisle, he's proved he's a great coach. I mean, he's won that one championship, with Dallas. And he's just been a consistent coach. He always seems to win. And wherever he goes, I think it's his second stint with the Pacers, actually.
Yeah, and they have some interesting pieces too that he might be able to play with. It's kind of a weird team, but he does well with kind of weird teams like that too. So
they have a talented team, though. I mean, they got probably 3 main guys that he could work with. With Miles Turner, Malcolm Brogdon, and Karis LeVert. So I mean, they got some players over there. It's not like they're a terrible team.
Yeah, no, he does. They got here, and then the Celtics. They hire, is it Udoka? I think as the I can't quite know how to pronounce his last name. He used to play for the Spurs. He was assistant for them, assistant this year for the Nets. I don't really know much about it. It seems like it's a different hire. It's not a white coach, that's for sure. Boston definitely didn't need that again there. So I think it will be.
I think a big reason they hired him is because he worked with, I believe it was Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, and Jason Tatum over in the USA Basketball. So he's got some rapport with them. But I mean, I don't know anything really about his coaching. Everything that they've said, he connects well with the players, good players coach. And Boston needs to change the scenery.
I feel like Boston's due for a bounce back year too after last year, getting rid of Walker. I think that will help them. Hey, 2 questions here. Most attractive job left. We got New Orleans, Washington, Portland, the Magic, and right now Dallas technically, but Jason Kidd would probably be hired here, which is kind of an interesting hire as well. But what job do you think is the most interesting there, or most attractive, I should say?
You always got to go with the best players on the best team, right? I mean, I think New Orleans is definitely there. I mean, you got Zion, Ingram. They're pretty. I don't know what happened with Van Gundy. I think he's just a little rigid, old school, and from the reports, Zion really wasn't feeling the love, and just it wasn't working out for whatever reason. They just didn't see eye to eye. And I think next year they could actually kind of. I wouldn't say go as far as the Hawks, but I think they could make definitely the second round if they, get the right coach.
Yeah, no, for sure. I kind of sneaky would kind of want the Magic job. I kind of like some of the young players on the Magic a little bit. I like Cole Anthony. They got the 2 lottery picks this year. I'm not saying I would want it over. I mean, the other one, I hear you, New Orleans with Zion. I just kind of think the Magic kind of are a sneaky team that, if they can actually kind of figure out a system there, they actually have some players there. I think Fultz is starting to turn around a little bit. Here he was starting to with his ACL. I like the Isaac guy as their wing players. So we'll see if they can. I like Cole Anthony too. You were kind of right about him this year. He's not a superstar, but I kind of liked his game as well. So I feel like in the Eastern Conference they could maybe like a team as well that would be a decent job. Do you think Becky Hammond gets a job finally? I heard the Blazers maybe are the job. Is she going to be the first female? She'll probably be the first female at some point, but you think this will be the year that they pull the trigger?
I don't think so. From what I heard, I think Chauncey Billups is actually kind of moving up in there. It was kind of those. So it was those 2, but I think she definitely deserves it. I mean, she's done her due, so to speak, and it would be nice and refreshing to see a woman, actually hold a coaching position at one of the top 4 major sports. I mean, you're seeing more and more females getting involved, with baseball being in the dugouts, base coaches. So and even with the NFL, they got coaches now, women in there. So I think basketball, it's more than due time. If they're gonna make all these changes, and she deserves it, what the hell? Why not? Everyone deserves a shot. Especially like I said, she's been under the tutelage under Greg Popovich, and seems like players respect her. So what the hell? Why not, man?
Yeah, and Portland would give her kind of a decent, could give her a pretty good team there to give her a good start with Lillard and McCollum or whatever they decide to do with him. But you definitely would have Lillard there probably still. So it would give her a good chance at success early on as well, which would be good instead of giving her like the magic job where she might have a little not success early. But like I said, you can build a team like that as well. So, all right, last question for me, NBA segment. Our guy Savage on his the guy hosts I Don't Know Sports podcast that we like. We communicate with him quite a bit on Twitter. We talked about the Wiggins-Simmons possible trade last week. He posted something again this week I thought was interesting. It was like a three-way trade where the Warriors would trade Wiseman, Wiggins, and their 2 first-round picks this year to the Thunder, and the Thunder would get those Warriors players, and the Warriors would then get Simmons, and the Sixers would get Shea Alexander from the 76ers. And I was like, well, that's a good trade for the other teams if I have, because I wouldn't want to give up Wiseman in a trade like that. So to make the question simpler, let's just focus it on Simmons, right? From the Warriors standpoint, since we're Warriors fans. Would you be willing to trade Wiggins and 2 first-round picks for Simmons? Or would you be willing to give up Wiggins, like this guy at Mateo that we talked to a lot as well? He said he'd only be willing to give up Wiggins in one of those picks. To me, Philadelphia is not even having a conversation unless both those picks are involved. So, I just want to know what you kind of think. What would you do in that trade?
Man, they both got a lot of money on their contracts. Simmons, I think, I don't know. We've gone back.
But would you trade the 2 picks for him with Wiggins? Would you?
Yeah, I would do that because it's kind of a crapshoot with, I know they had the 7 and 14 pick, I believe, this year. Wiggins, showed a lot of progress, but I would do it if you're trying to win now, and that's what the Warriors are trying to do. Then I think you almost have to do it.
I really wish the Warriors could have fell to 4 and got Suggs from Gonzaga. I love that guy. He might even go number 2, maybe, but I don't know. I just love that guy. The way he plays is unbelievable. The value you could have got at him at 4 if he dropped that.
I was watching actually the Dub Talk kind of when they had Mullen and Darrell Wright and a couple others on there, Kendra Andrews, I think, and they were saying they were saying if he falls that far, there's 2 guys they thought would be Franz Wagner and Scotty Barnes. So I haven't watched a lot of Scotty Barnes, but
you want a guy named Scotty Barnes.
Scotty Barnes. not a man named Scott, but
Scotty. I like the Mitchell guy. I've heard of I like the guys from Baylor too. They have I forget Mitchell, right? He's the guy that I'm getting out. I liked his game on defense. I don't know. It'll be interesting. I just think the Warriors I feel like they're going to do something. I would be shocked if they go into the season with 2 rookies at 7 and 14. I'm not saying it's the worst thing in the world, but it would be surprising if that's what happens.
I won't be surprised if Oubre gets moved at some point too.
Yeah, he's always been a weird fit to me on the Warriors. A lot of people like him, but to me, he's just so he's at such a you just don't know what you're getting from him all the time. So it's kind of tough. But I love it. But he gives you options. The problem is he sees himself as a starter.
Yeah, I think he'd be a great 6-man.
Yeah, that's what they need him as. So it's that's where you need to humble yourself as a player for the better of the team. You'll still get lots of minutes and stuff like that. You just might not start the game out. So I don't know. The Warriors have some tough decisions here. It'll be interesting what trades happen or if any happen moving into the first. Bob Myers says nothing really happens till the last 2 weeks before the draft, but we'll see. This is a big draft for the Warriors. Big draft.
Time will tell.
We'll see if they can get something out of that D. Russell trade here a little bit. All right, let's take a break here. We'll be right back here with our final segment.
Hello.
All right, we're back. Casey, we haven't done a baseball segment in a long time here. We usually do just NBA most of the time here. but I feel like summer's heating up here literally, and the baseball has actually been pretty good. There's some things I don't like about it, the strikeout rates and that kind of stuff that slows the game down. But I like that they're finally acknowledging stuff like that. And one of the things they've been acknowledging is pitchers and the grip and this, like throughout the whole month here, Josh Donaldson was like the first player that I saw come out and kind of publicly say something about it. And then ever since then, the commissioners responded with 10-game suspensions for people that are using any type of foreign substance other than the rosin bag and their own sweat. I'm sure players are still using sunscreen. I can't imagine that being illegal. No, you have to get sunburned. We're not allowing. So I'm sure there's some things that they're still using, but it's such a fascinating topic in baseball. It's like, it's the one sport where cheating is just part of the game, right? It literally is part of the game. It is, you know what I mean? Like, if you're not cheating, you're literally not trying in that game. It's just small little details like that. And the spin rate stuff have become kind of a phenomenon for the last 2 years. And all of a sudden they take away some of these substances you're not allowed to use, like pine tar on your hat, right? Stuff like that on your belt. In your hair, a lot of pitchers were putting stuff in their hair, which is kind of funny to me. And then this one company was probably getting a lot of love for a little bit, Spider Tack. They're like almost like a sticky glue. And apparently it gives the pitchers better grip, which of course the hitters want them to have because they don't want the ball thrown at their head. But it was funny that immediately how the pitchers' numbers right after that as well went down. The velocity on some of the pitchers went down. The spin rate on some of the pitchers went down. But that makes sense, right? If you don't have proper grip on things, you're not going to be able to get the torque that you usually get on a curve or a slider or even on a fastball. So it's baseball just can't get out of its own way. And this is another topic where Manfred looks like an idiot because he doesn't suspend the Astros players for beating on trash cans any games. Right? He gives them all warnings, and then pitchers get it automatically a 10-game suspension.
With pay.
But on top of that, we also have these now umpire checks that have become very fascinating, where the managers can request a look because they feel like the pitcher might have something on them, which first of all is stupid because you'd have to be the biggest idiot in the world to have something on you now after all the attention's on you. Yeah, I mean, you'd have to be an idiot, right? You'd have to be an idiot. You'd have to have no common sense whatsoever. Yeah. And I just find it fascinating that the umpires at times will go out there and they'll check like the best pitchers like Jacob DeGrom and Max Scherzer. And and I love how Sergio Romo just dropped his pants, basically. He just said, you know what? You can search me. And I'm waiting for the moment where the umpires come out and one of the players literally takes off all his clothes and he starts running around naked around from security and just let, you know what I mean? So what's your kind of thoughts, just as like kind of a casual baseball fan of this whole just weird situation that's going on with the pitchers and the sticky stuff?
To be honest, like you said, baseball's been cheating, hasn't even been frowned upon. It's almost been like encouraged. Like if you can get away with it, then by all means do it. And even if you get caught, there's not really any ramifications for it. And so, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I think, I don't even know why you even need this stuff. I get what you're saying, grip and all that, but from as long as I've played baseball, I've never used anything. I'm not saying I'm throwing 90 miles per hour plus, but I just don't understand why you have to use a different substance to, throw a ball. It just doesn't make sense to me. But I get the control issues and you have
the rosin bag. That's what what that's for. That's what it should be for, right?
To me, it's kind of hilarious when you hear the pitchers like almost like crying and whining like about like, oh, this isn't fair. Like I can't, I have to change everything. It's like, well, you shouldn't have been cheating in the first place. So
let me ask you this. Let me ask you this though. If it's not a rule, if it's a rule, right? But that rule is not being enforced, is it really a rule?
No, it's not. It's like
exactly
nothing.
That's why the criminal rate in San Francisco is off the hooks. We have rules. People get arrested for these rules, and then they're back on the street 10 minutes later. You know what I mean? They're not being enforced. So is it really a rule? Is it really a rule? And I think finally now it's being enforced. So the pitchers are like, well, what happened mid-season here? Doesn't mean it's right, but I also blame. I feel like the commissioner just gets kind of. I guess that's why he stays out of the news, or he just doesn't make any public appearances. Where is he? He should be saying something more about this.
Well, he did say that it's gone very well, and I'm like, very well. You got pitchers dropping pants.
What is he gonna say?
You got Joe. You got Joe Girardi checking on Scherzer 3 times in a game. Like
Sex sells, man. Sex sells.
sex sells, yeah. Chicks dig the long ball now. That it's gone to a different slogan now. But
The fans are cheering for them to have that pitcher drop his pants. They really
drop the pants. Drop.
That's what I'm telling you. Pretty soon you'll have people running around naked away from security there. So just kind of a crazy situation out there. We'll have to get Tyler's thoughts on it next week as well. I also kind of something else I saw in baseball this week that I thought was interesting that I wanted to bring up a topic with was I was listening, just happened to be listening to the game at work I was doing this week, and Aaron Nola broke like a kind of a random record like that I didn't really know, which was how many strikeouts in a row in a game, right? Like you don't really think about that ever. It just doesn't really come up. Do you even know? You probably didn't even know who had the record before. And so
I know now it was Tom Seaver.
Tom Seaver with 10. And then Nola ties it this week with that getting 10, which is just, a record that is held for 51 years, which is, just kind of one of those records you're like, really? That's a long time for a record to be held, especially with strikeouts even increasing more right now. You would think maybe somebody would have it. So there were some fun facts with that stat. I thought people would like that, or nerds about baseball. One of them was, I thought for Tom Seaver, it's a little bit more impressive though, because he threw a complete game. And the last 10 outs were his 10 strikeouts. So that's pretty impressive to finish the game, getting better even as you finish there.
Stronger, yeah.
That's pretty impressive there. So I don't know. I just thought that was kind of a pretty cool record that was broken. And made me think about other records in baseball that maybe we don't think about that also. So like the triple record, right? Like there's all these guys like, back then there was no fences, right? So there was like I wanted to know who had the most triples, and all of them for like 1855, 1892, 1927. I think one of them was 1949, right? And then ever since then, that guy from 1949 held the record. In 2007, somebody got 23 triples. That's the highest anybody's had since 1949. So that, you know what I mean? Put it in perspective with baseball.
Do you know, was it Juan Pierre?
It was not Big Juan. I don't think Juan could hit it that far.
But he could run like a mother.
I'll give you a clue. He played in the AL Central.
The AL Central?
Yeah.
Well, was it Kenny Lofton?
Close. Curtis Granderson, 23 triples. That's pretty incredible, 2007. I thought that was kind of a random record to hold as well. And so it kind of made me think of like some other ones that were kind of random. So listen to a couple of these. Oldest player to hit his first home run, Bartolo Colon, 42 years old.
I remember that one. Yeah, I remember that one actually.
So I feel like that's like one of the most random records you could like ever have. Just kind of something there. Most home runs allowed. Who has allowed the most home runs?
Like in a game?
No. In his career. You want to take a shot at it? I'll tell you this. He played for the Mariners most of his career.
Jamie Moore?
Yep. He's given up 522 long balls.
Holy moly. That's a lot of home runs to give up.
You know the stat to me, not really an odd one or something like that, but one that I always thought was just, I don't think will ever be broken. I mean, I would be just stunned if ever it was broken. Everybody always brings up the Joe DiMaggio one, which probably won't be, that's pretty incredible, 56 game hitting streak. Yeah. I mean, Pete Rose has the next highest at like 44. So he's like 11 off. That's how you know that's a good record, when like you're still 11 away. And his stat was like, he goes, yeah, it was a crazy. He goes, that's how good of a record it is. He's like, I was still 11 games away from tying it. He's like, so, but one to me that's always crazy is Nolan Ryan's 7 no hitters.
Yeah, that's pretty nuts.
7.
That's pretty crazy.
I mean, that's a lot. I mean, that's just like, that's never going to be touched. Nobody's getting 7.
Either is the Cal Ripken. No one's gonna play that many games in a row.
No, that one's not going to be broken either. Ichiro 262 hits. That's always one I always feel like it's going to be up there for a while too. That's a ton of hits in a season. He
Yeah,
broke Ty Cobb's or Pete Rose and then Ty Cobb's record. I mean, those are records that aren't broken. Those are only like special hitters that come along doing that stuff.
no one's gonna hit 400.
I just love talking nerd baseball like this sometimes. I gotta admit, this is my thing. So there's some random records out there I just thought was. Is there a random record you want me to look up real quick that you were thinking like what would be one that kind of just I don't know surprised you?
I know who the all-time leader in steals is, but I want to say though, who was the all-time for a season? Was it Tim Raines?
For what?
A season with stolen bases in the number?
It's Ricky Henderson.
He did.
Yeah.
Raines came close though, right? I believe.
Yeah, he came close, but not
even close to Ricky.
Not close to Ricky. No.
Yeah.
Ricky's is like 130, I think.
That was always the coolest game I ever went to. I was like 4 years old.
Yeah.
It was the Ricky Henderson game where he broke Lou Brock's stolen base record. I believe it was 939 when he did it.
Yeah, that's a crazy one. 939, insane. Yeah, his record now is 1,406, so that's not going to be touched. That will probably be one that stands up there for a long time as well. All right. Last thing I wanted to get into was Jacob DeGrom, and not necessarily him, but I feel like he's the most dominant player right now in any sport going right now, Casey. I don't think there's anybody in any major sport or maybe a track sport out there. There's somebody out there dominating like nobody else. I just like the lady that just ran the fastest 100-meter, but anyways, with Jacob DeGrom, I just feel like there's nobody else better than him right now. Like he's dominating the league like nobody really dominated. So it made me think about, just to give you perspective, his ERA is 0.61. He's given up 6 earned runs on the year. All right. He has 5 RBIs himself as a hitter. That kind of just gives you like how ridiculous that is. So he's having
he had 31 scoreless innings up until yesterday.
Yeah. So he's given up 30 hits all year. So, so that kind of gives you an idea. So anyways, with that being said, it made me think about, who have been some of the most dominant players that we've seen in like our era. And, we could say Michael Jordan and stuff, but we weren't really around, I feel like, locked in every day on his era enough. So it made me think of like, who would be the guys that first jump out to you that when you just think beast. All right. So the guys I got, Case, and you go Tiger Woods. He's easily the first guy that comes to my mind. Just like who dominated a sport that like you'll never see again. This is the year I was thinking. Year 2000. He played in 20 events that year in golf. He won 9 of them. Mm-hmm. So, and you know what I mean? In golf, not, this is it. This is any other sport. He won almost half of the events he participated in. He won the last 3 majors of that year. All right. So he basically won all the big ones other than the Masters. And he won the US Open, which is the hardest course for anybody to play out of all the majors. He has the record and probably will for a long time, is he won the US Open by 15 strokes against other professional players. That is as dominant a season as you'll ever have. So that's kind of what I was thinking. Other 2 people real quick, Michael Phelps in the pool, that Olympics when he won 7 of them. That was pretty nuts. He was just waxing people in that stuff. And then the Curry in 2016, he was unreal. Like he just was superhuman. Never seen anybody more unreal than he was that year. Federer, that run he had for a couple of years where he never lost. And then the last one was, I would say for me, is Brady, the Brady Moss combination for that 1 year. Like just pure dominance. Like where you watch it, it's like they're not being. It's something different. You got anybody that sticks out or to that list?
To me, I would say definitely Serena Williams has got to be on that list.
That's a good call. That's a good call. Really good call.
For 1 year, too, I'd probably say Patrick Mahomes, the year he won the Super Bowl.
I feel like he would have been on the list this year if he didn't have the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? I had to put him. It's a reality check, though. At that point.
No, the year before. The year
Yeah,
before, when they won the Super Bowl.
He was pretty unreal that year. I'll give it to you. But the Niners even slowed him down a little bit in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, no, that's true. But and then the one I was thinking though, to me would be Barry Bonds.
Yeah, he's always on the list.
I mean, that year when you can say whatever you want, but I've never seen him like a hitter dominate a pitcher. It's insane.
I
Like,
know.
it never happens.
It never happened.
The thing I always appreciate about him is when he would see the baseball, it literally was just like, it's got to be so discouraging for a pitcher when you throw like a great breaking ball and he just like stands there and is like, nah, I'm not
Spits on it.
like, no effort at all. But yeah,
Spits
those
on
top
it.
three for me.
How many MVPs does he have? He has the record. Do you know what it is?
I think it's like 5, right?
7.
7. I wanted to say 7. Yeah.
Jeff Kent stole one. He should have 8. Yeah, I was kidding. That's a tie. That's a tie.
I did have one.
He should be in the Hall of Fame, though. By the way, Jeff Kent. Just saying, he should be in the Hall of Fame. He should be. That's all I'm saying. He should be in the Hall of Fame.
I did have one baseball question for you.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you heard the story. What do you think about NC State having to, in the College World Series, so it's down to 2 now, Vanderbilt and Mississippi State are playing in the finals.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of the game yesterday.
So what do you think of Vanderbilt making it via NC State's forfeit because of coronavirus? So they never even play the elimination game.
That's just the world we live in, unfortunately, right now. It's just, you know what I mean? I'm not even like, I hear you. I'd be pretty frustrated if I was an NC State like fan or parent or player or something like, especially a player or coach. But I mean, I don't know. If you got COVID, you can't be playing other people, right?
No, I get that. And, there's people who are like, oh, that's why everyone should be vaccinated. Well, 4 of the 6 guys that actually got it were vaccinated.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's weird, this thing. So,
but yeah.
Yeah, there'll be interesting College World Series of Vanderbilt. I'm kind of glad they're in there just because they got the star-studded pitchers there, so they're kind of fun to watch, Leiter and Rocker. So Mississippi State, Will Clark's alma mater, Rafael Palmeiras, they're back in it. I always liked that those two played on the same college together. An underrated documentary with those two about Mississippi State.
Do you remember their nicknames?
Was it like, it was Thunder and Lightning, right?
Yep.
Yep, there it is. Look at that SEC Mississippi State knowledge.
Do you know who was Thunder and Lightning?
I'm gonna guess Thunder was Will Clark.
Nope.
No, all right. Who was the best pitcher on that team?
The guy that got hit with the line drive.
Jeff Brantley.
Jeff Brantley.
Yeah,
that wasn't the guy then?
He was he was like the best pitcher on that team. And then they had like a closer too. They had a pretty good team for a college baseball team. Case, we're going to try a new segment here. Just hold on with us. That's our sports part of the day here. We're going to be it's good to do baseball with you, my friend. We got to get into it more. Did you notice how we avoided the A's Giants very well with Tyler not here? We're not going to talk about
that.
We're going to avoid the A's Giants. The A's, I'm laying down with Derek, listening to the radio. I fall asleep. Right before I fall asleep, Chapman hits the home run to take the lead. I wake up middle of the night, check the score. They lost 6-5. Sure enough, it's just ridiculous. So we're not going to get into that. The bullpen sucks, though. Just got to say that real quick. But I got one last segment. We're going to do a little kind of something different here. We'll mix it up here. All right, we'll be back. All right, bear with me on this one as we try something different here on the Fatboy FadeAway Sports here. I was thinking about some funny stories this week because our dad is doing jury duty this week, and he's doing stuff on there, and it made me think about the time I had to go on there, and just some of these weird stories as you get into court. You're like, that person got actually arrested for doing something that stupid. Like, you just hear these stories, and you're like, that's what that person did. And so it kind of made me think about like some stories over the past year that came up with some dumb criminals. I thought there are some funny ones we could share here for a second. And in case you can tell me what you think of it here. So the first one was here's this guy in Montana named Stephen Crane, and he broke into a newsroom, and he used the computers. He decided Casey to watch a little pornography, check his Facebook, just the usual things when you break into a newsroom in Montana. then he decided to douse the office with a fire extinguisher. He took some candy and left. Unfortunately for Mr. Crane, it wasn't too hard to find him because he left a trail of M&Ms over to his sister's house across the street, and they were able to arrest him. I mean,
Uh,
you go to
what
the, who goes to a newsroom to watch pornography on Facebook? Are you kidding me?
maybe he ran out of his Wi-Fi.
Come on, I guess he was desperate. Come on, Steven, you got to be better than that on that.
Yeah.
That's,
I guess
I'm
he
like-
got a little worked up and hungry after his workout. So yeah, take some M&Ms.
I like the headline that says "Next time, steal a Milky Way."
Next time.
I thought that was a good one. There's a couple other ones here too. So recently, a woman in our, not our neck of the woods, but not too far away, Fresno, California, was stopped at a DUI checkpoint for being, for being hammered. She was ever helpful though. She offered up good information to the cops, saying her husband, right behind her, was even drunker than she was. So you have another example of somebody when you drink too much, the not very smart things that come out of your mouth there.
Oh man, snitches get stitches. That's rough. That's like a little child. Well, he's drunker than I am. Like, come on now, just take ownership. Talk about selling out your spouse. It's a little rough.
All right, last one here. As two men waited online at the coffee shop to pay their bill, a third cut in
line.
Yeah, so they're in a coffee line. Two people were there, and this third guy cut in front of them, and he decided to throw a drink at the clerk and demanded all their money. He was temporarily surprised though, because you soon realized that he cut in front of a couple officers. So you don't have. There's some criminals out there that just aren't the sharpest tools in the shed. I also makes me think of this person I work at this place I work at, and I work by a pick and pull, and there's always people there throwing parts over the fence and then trying to go through our property to get these parts for just cheap. And I'm sitting there one time, and this guy's literally on a bike, and I see him. I'm on the phone with the cops. I see him kind of going through our back fence there, and I'm saying, "Yeah, I got this guy here, and he doesn't look like he's too much harm, but he's just breaking through our fence again. It looks like he's going on to steal parts." And they're like, "All right, we'll be on our way." And I'm sitting there on our little golf cart we have, making the phone call, and sure enough, he comes rolling through the parking lot on his bike, and he's literally carrying with him a big ass windshield. Somehow got to throw over the pick and pull fence, and then picked it up. The pick and pull fence was like 10 feet tall, and then he's carrying it on his bike like this, like a 2-hand bike. And I'm on the phone with the cops at the same time, and they're like, "Where is he right now?" Like, he's literally just rolling by me right now with this big ass windshield. So and he was sure enough pulled over like 1 minute later. So there's people out there, man, that there's stupid things out there like that. So anyways, I thought we could end the week with some funny stories out there. People don't do dumb things out there. You know what I mean? If you're gonna steal, be a little bit smarter. No, just kidding. Don't steal. Don't steal. Do the right thing. Do the right thing. We want a better world out there, people. We want a better world out there. So I don't know, Case. I thought there were some funny ones out there for sure.
There's definitely some morons out there that do some dumb stuff.
There are some morons out there, that's for sure.
And I do remember though, this is maybe a couple of years back, and I was working in Fairfield, I believe, and there's this motorcycle, probably a good 1,000 yards away, but man, it's coming up fast. I'm like, man, this guy is cruising, and both sides of the street were basically ramped off. So you had like 2 huge ramps in the middle, which I was standing by. There was like a big hole because they're doing testing for pipes. And I'm like looking, figuring things out. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of weird. There's a couple sheriffs parked on adjacent from the side of, the street, and just sitting there, but I don't have the stop sign up. I'm like, all right, that's kind of weird, but it's cops. They're going to do what they want. And this guy on the motorcycle is just flying. I'm like, damn, he's getting close. He's hauling ass, like easily over 100.
All right.
And he gets about maybe 50 yards, and I'm like, looking, and this other guy from looking with me, and he flies by. He has this big furry teddy bear like on his head, and he has a backpack, and he's flying. I'm like, maybe misses me by like 10, 15 feet. And I look at the guy next to me, and I was like, did you just fucking see that? He's like, yeah, I think he had a teddy bear. Like, and all of a sudden, maybe less than 5 seconds, you see like cops just like, woo, woo, woo. And I was like, well, someone definitely just robbed a bank or something, because he had like, just imagine like this big teddy bear fur, like, animal head coming at you and just flies by, and I just look at the guy and go, what the hell was that?
You don't do that every day.
No, not at all. I was laughing so hard. I don't know if they caught him or not. I have no idea, but
What's the fastest you've ever gone?
driving
Yeah, have you ever gone over 100?
with someone or myself?
Either way, I don't care.
Probably like 120.
Man, dangerous guy over there. And the
Well,
Camry?
I wasn't driving.
One Camry?
It was in my friend's like Z3
Okay.
something, 325, something like that. But we were in like high school being dumb
I was
kids.
thinking it might be in your Sundance that you used to.
I don't
Did
think
that thing get over 60?
Yeah, on a good day.
Oh, good day, barely. Didn't you throw away a decent amount of money in that car though? Did you get like
Actually, I got the car for free, but then the engine blew out. That's a learning lesson when you're a kid. You got to put oil in the car; it just doesn't run by itself.
Yeah, oil's important. I've learned that as well, and a few things as well. That's very important there. Well, I don't know if I can top the bear story with the head. That's pretty good. Yeah, that's a pretty good one there. All right, well, Jace, we'll have Tyler back next week. Anything you're looking forward to this week? I know we got the basketball, got the baseball, got July 4th coming up here on Sunday. So next Sunday will be July 4th, my favorite holiday of the year. Working in a school, it's always nice to have, I don't know, just that little break there is always nice there over the summer. So, and people always come up to our house too for the barbecues. That's always good stuff as well. So next week, I'll see you July 4th. We'll do one in the morning. I'll probably do a special tribute for that one as well. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the podcast this week. Sorry for some of the technical difficulties there at the beginning. Tyler, thanks for trying to jump on there with us. We'll see him next week on July 4th. So everyone, have a good week out there. A's, for the love of God, win a game today.